Hello and welcome to Trained Well. Today we have a really special guest, Philip No. Philip isn't your average insurance agent. Sure, he's an agency owner based in Fountain Valley, California, but he's also become something of an AI guru for insurance agents. In fact, he's the founder of AI Mastermind, a program that helps insurance agencies leverage AI to streamline workflows and stay ahead of the competition, but more on that later. But for now, just think of it as old school insurance meets new school tech, all in one person. His office is among the top performing agents in the company. He even holds 3 degrees from UC San Diego in psychology, mathematics, and economics. What's really cool, though, is how Philip uses all of that know how to help others work smarter, not harder. He's been out there mentoring agents, sharing insights through webinars, and showing fellow insurance agents how embracing technology can be a game changer. In this episode, we'll chat with Philip about his journey from starting in insurance. Fun fact, he was even a claims rep at one point, to becoming a tech savvy agency leader, and learn how he's blending AI with insurance in everyday practice. We'll also dig into his mindset, his approach to business, and tips he has for thriving in an industry that's rapidly evolving. It's going to be friendly, laid back conversation packed in with insight. So let's get started. Phil,
Oh,
thanks for being here today.
thank you, George. That was an amazing introduction. It's like AI George was speaking. That's
Right,
amazing.
exactly. Tried to put a little time and effort into it. So,
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm honored to be your first podcast guest, man.
yeah, first one. I'm excited to have you. Appreciate you taking the chance on me. So,
Of course, anytime.
well, Phil, what's your story? You were born, now you're here. What happened in between?
That is a great question. So maybe I'll give you a 2, 3 minute start, but I think a lot of time we overlooked our childhood, how we were raised, but that shaped a lot of decision that we made and how we feel and how we make the decision and so on. I was born in Vietnam, and luckily I grew up in like the poorest and roughest neighborhood in Saigon. Um, I mean, we're talking about when people escape the prison nearby, they'll go hide in my neighborhood, and the childhood friends that I would play with, they would often get sold to a foreigner. And, later on, I realized like, oh my gosh, that's human trafficking. But as a kid, that was just how things were.
Wow.
And one of the event that really impacted me, as I think back, is I was just playing with my friends, and some foreigner come and they just drop some money on the ground, and then they just signal for the kids to like fight each other. And next thing I know, like two of my close friends was just on the ground beating each other up bloody. And something inside of me was just so upset at that point. It's like it's say I would never effing let that happen again. But as a 7 years old kid, I don't know what that means. But like I just know I told myself that. I told my dad that that evening, and he say like, "Well, you better be one of the best effing student. If not, we're never gonna get out of here." So thankfully, we got to go to the U.S. at age 11, and yeah. Well, fast forward how I got into this insurance gig.
Yeah, I mean, were you always going to be an insurance agent? Like, what happened?
I think, this is a great question because, well, I study math, econ, and psychology and I graduate with that. That's the major of undecisiveness because I was just so interested in learning everything. Uh, but then I originally wanted to be a psychologist. But my mom got really ill, so I was like, well, I better make some money fast. And so I took the job at the San Diego Claim Operations Center. Uh, and then I moved closer to home. I worked in marketing for the insurance company, and then spending a lot of time with insurance agent. And they got like, hey, you know what? You can buy your mom a home if you just work hard. And I did the math, and it's like, wow, it doesn't seem probable, but it's possible. So I went for it. So long story short, after about 14 months of opening my insurance agency, I was able to buy my mom a home, which is like an impossible goal, living in California, right?
Right,
At age
especially
26.
that's like
Uh,
because I mean, my parents are from Lebanon, right? So they moved here to kind of have a better life, have their kids have a better life, and like that's like the ultimate like immigrant goal, is take care of your
yeah,
parents, like get them a house.
absolutely.
So yeah, that's
And you
awesome.
know, most of my friends were still paying off student loans, and I was debt free and doing that, and only insurance agency like provided that for my family. I'm just so grateful, you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'll share this too. Like I was so excited because it happened right on my birthday, right on Mother's Day weekend, and I was about to leave for this like prestigious company award trip, and then I get to stand in front of this white garage door with a big bowl for my mom. But the night before that, I went and celebrated at the trampoline park. I broke my leg, so you know. So,
That's eventful. That's
yeah,
eventful.
as an insurance agent, you break your leg on a trampoline. Um, Yeah, so how it got into this AI gig is kind of a interesting story because as you know, insurance agent we're like the last people to pick
Right.
up on new technology because
Right.
it's our job to grind. And the more insurance agents I met, I realized there's this one similarity. I don't know if you can see the same. A lot of us have, not all, but a lot of us have some kind of financial wound or financial hardship growing up. So the only chance that we get at this opportunity to do honest work, and all we have to do is work hard. Okay, let me just roll up my sleeve. I'll grind as long as my family is provided for, right? Uh, so I did that for about 6, 7, 8 years or so. I'm so blessed to be mentored by top agents and take my mom around all these company trip, and she'll pinch me in Paris and Switzerland. It's like, oh, is this real? You know. But then that at these conventions meeting with all these top agents over like almost a decade, the stories and the question never changed. Like, how do I go from number 97 to number 5 in the country? I was like, gosh, like there's got to be more to life than this, because it just kind of bring me back to that moment of just laying low and collecting the dough. I just feel like a part of something in my soul and my heart was missing, and no award and no accolade can fill that. So I was really lost for a few years. So I decided, well, I'm gonna just go do some personal development. So for about 5 years or more, I spent almost or maybe even more than $500,000 into personal and professional development. And I kind of just leave my professional life on hold, and I just like I need it for me. And thanks to that, I got to meet some of the brightest people right when AI and COVID was rolling around. So I just spent a lot of time like, wow, this is. Well, at first I just thought it's really cool. Like, you mean I don't have to read a book? I just ask AI to summarize it for me, and then ask the AI to behave like the author and give me life and business advice for like $20 a month. Can you believe that? Right, it just started with that. And then I just share it with other people. And then next thing I know, people come to me for advice. And I never see myself as an AI guru. I'm like, I just a guy that's just asking the machine the question, and then give me an answer, and I summarize it. Right. That's it. And that's how it started.
Wow. Well, it's interesting that you say that. You felt lost and you found yourself with this personal development and found yourself with AI. Like it's something you really connected with, really like doing, and you want to share that with others, right? But I think since AI has come out, a lot of people feel more lost than ever, right?
100%. Oh, I think we're about to be even more lost because as human being, would you agree? Like, our professional identity is a big part of our identity. It's like who are you, right? I'm an insurance agent, but if what is an insurance agent anymore if AI, like 2 days ago I asked AI to like, hey, go online and here's my John Smith like fake personal info. Just get me a quote, and it did that. It went to all these captive company. It went to this direct company, and it even went to an internet aggregator site to plug in the information and give me quotes. Okay, so is AI a agent of insurance now? Right?
Right. Sure. Right. Right. Yeah, because I mean, I mean, obviously, we're both in the AI space, both in the insurance space, always working with agents, and most of them just don't even know what to do. They don't know if it's like, okay, are they being compliant, or where do they even start, or even just like, I don't even know how to put, a word to it, but they're just like, should they even, if someone's 20, 30 years into the business, should they even invest the time into it, be thinking that, maybe they're just going to get replaced in 5 years or even retire in 5 years?
Yeah, man, I get the dilemma because as you know, it's getting tougher and tougher because being a local business, especially an insurance agent, we get pulled in all direction, right? Like people come to us on their worst day when their money, their health, and their car, the three most important thing for an American is being in jeopardized. And then our team is getting more and more sick, so they call out more often, and it's this generational thing. um, and everything fall into so you're like, okay, I don't have time for AI, which is like the biggest oxymoron that I can think of. It's like I don't have time, so I don't want to invest time to be more efficient and productive, right? But from your end, what are you seeing, George? Because you obviously see it very differently, and you you use AI as a big part of train well. So like, what? Yeah, tell us about that process.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I mean, kind of to your point, like, people don't have time for AI, or obviously the name of the podcast is Trained Well. My training company is called Train Well, and people say, well, I don't have time to train. And I just can't even imagine like working on anything other than training, and then also like using AI, which also involves training, right? You got to train your own AI, especially like if
Yeah.
you're making your own model, making your own version of it, that might be helping your team. But it's one of those things, especially for me, because you know I'm still an insurance agent, still helping run an agency. Like there's plenty of excuse and like plenty of things to do where you can excuse just like, yeah, I don't have time for that. But I mean, I just knew, especially with AI starting up, that I had to do something with it. I had to use it because, the way I think back to it is like if in the 90s I would have been born, I probably would have tried to start an internet company. And then I missed the algorithm boom with like Amazon and social media and Facebook. I was just like in middle school trying to figure out multiplication. But now here's my chance to do something with AI. So I just knew that whatever I was going to do with it, whatever time I was going to spend, I was just going to make the time. I was just going to find it somewhere, and I'm so glad I did, and I'm sure you're glad you did too, because it's probably worked its way into like most facets of my life. I mean, wouldn't you agree? Like, how are you using AI right now?
Yeah. Um, well, there's so much to start with but what I appreciate is you use it. I think what I found a pattern is we use AI however we are as a human being already. Looks like you love to, maybe you hate to repeat yourself, but you also love to train your team member. So
Right?
then
Yeah. No, that's
before
100%. 100%.
before AI, you already were recording video and doing training, and with AI, it probably just makes sense. Okay, let's just plug it into the content, the expertise, knowledge, and boom, right? Um, well, one of the things that I enjoy is making people laugh, like giving them a good time. So one of my first initial thing is like, okay, how can I just create a good time with AI? So I just, for example, on your birthday,
Yep.
I,
Yep. I knew you were going
I
there.
made a little
Yeah.
rap video of myself, and
Yep.
it's so stupid and hilarious, but it just create a smile in people. Um, but where that have landed me is an opportunity to connect one-on-one with just some really high profile people that's really hard to reach. And from there, I get a lot of wisdoms and insights and also recommendation from them to their peers as well. So that's how it has helped me for businesses inside of insurance and outside of insurance as well. It's just to start and deepen a relationship, right? But you can apply it to like all because I kind of mentioned with you like the five areas of any businesses. Like number one is the human resources, like recruiting and HR. Well, you can use AI for that. We can talk about some use cases such as um, you can set up a AI to be the role play filter for your
Mm.
agency, right?
Yep.
So like, hey, George, welcome to our agency. Part of your interview is learn this word track. Here's a video of how we use it. Here's the script. And then when you're ready, schedule a call with our AI interviewer, and she's gonna role play with you. And then all of that, there's no net time from anybody in the office. and that whole call is recorded and transcribed and analyzed, and then the recommendation gets sent to the business owner, right?
Yeah.
That's recruiting.
Well, it's so interesting you say that too, because something that we literally do when we interview is like, we might have like a very simple, brief phone interview. But if that was good, we actually like bring the person in and we literally role play with the person. Like we give them a laptop, we role play with them, and we use that as like, how good they do the first time, how they do the script, how coachable were they when we gave them advice. But I think I'm probably gonna have to steal that one where now, maybe you go phone interview, AI role play, and then they come in
Right.
the office. But
Especially if that's gonna be how we would be training the team based on
right,
pre-existing software. And
right,
if they're not on board with being trained by automated recorded video and scripts and also by AI, then maybe they don't belong with the future agency that we're gonna have, right?
right,
So
exactly,
it's a whole filter. Of course, when you have your real interview like this, we can take the transcript of it and then run it through AI and tell, hey, well, if you have to guess what's the DISC assessment of this person, what's the Colby index? Because we're human being, we speak like patterns, you know? Uh, like right now, there's enough data from our transcript to know what personality I am and what personality you are already,
exactly,
just from the
exactly.
short,
Yeah. Oh
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
AI will be helping edit this, so I can tell you
Right.
that. So
And I'm sure with Trainwell, you probably have planned to do this already, but like given somebody's experience and also personality, you can plug all that in with the existing data. It's like, okay, this is John, information about him, personality, experience, challenges. This is Trainwell content. Now this is a personalized training plan for John. Right? So you can personalize things to the nth degree with AI. So
right.
then that more training
Well, and
to go.
because I mean, with training, one of the I'd say two of the biggest objections, and you probably go see this too with your training, but it's one, is this right for me? Is it going to work for me? But two, is it right for me right now? Right?
Right.
Like where I'm at in my business, in selling, or whatever I'm learning, is it right for me right now? And I mean, that would help bridge the gap, you know?
Yeah, man. Uh, I mean, a lot of SOP, standard operating procedure, insurance agent call it playbook. It's a double-edged sword. You don't have it, you screw. But you have too many of them, and your team and yourself like, where did I have that thing again, right? And this is why I love your idea of having AI George. You know, in our mastermind, we recommend people to create their own versions of Train Well. But the difference is their thing didn't get them to top 10 in the country, but yours does. So like, why reinvent? And then you can use AI for the third pillar, which is like agency management as well. So just think about all the personalities of people in the office
Sure. Yeah.
and the roles, and you can put in KPIs, key performance indicators, and kind of just ask the questions like, who has the highest risk of turnover, right? Who am I underutilizing, but maybe I can spend a little bit more time on this, right? Just by asking, or if you don't know, it's like, hey, here's information about my team. What are the best questions that I could ask? Because my goal is this right now. And then maybe I'll just send out 15 questions and three of them would be amazing, right?
Yep.
Um,
Well, and one time a couple of years ago, we did like we were considering using Colby tests as part of like our interview process. So we did a Colby test on everybody in the office, like sales team, service team, and not there was no correlation of what Colby did well in our office, right? Because I mean, we're pretty good at working with different personalities and like finding what motivates people. We could always be better, of course, but that made a little bit more sense when some people get excited about commissions, some people get excited about prizes, and some people just are fine working 9 to 5 and going home. you know and just having that sort of like filter of like, okay, now we know the Colby, what questions should I ask using the I mean, it just helps sort of bridge that gap of any communication or any difference in motivation. But
People learn differently, and that's so true. But maybe I mean, we get so passionate about it, and it's so natural for us to think about this is amazing technology, it's transformative, and it's also a general technology, kind of like
Right.
electricity. You kind
Yeah.
of like, what do you use electricity for? Like, oh man, where do I even start? Number one, charge your iPhone, or what do you use
Yeah.
your iPhone for? How do you use it? Like, it's all general technology. But I think the biggest problem for most agents is they really don't know where to start, but really it's the belief. It's the mindset, a mind shift. Maybe you have observed some of that already, but I think just this phrase that I know a lot of agents tell themselves is, "I'm not good with tech," right? I mean, one agent even come to me and say, okay, feel free to bleep this out, right? But this is her word, not mine. Like, Phil, like, I am tech-tarded, right? Like, they just say the meanest thing to themselves when it comes to technology. And which is, I understand, to be humble, but when we embrace that identity, we try to do everything to be congruent to that limiting
Right. You shut a
identity.
lot of things out just so that holds true. Yeah.
Right. And I feel like sometimes agents do that as a safe way out. And I know I might offend a lot of high achieving agent, which people that listen to this are really high achiever. And you're like, Phil, what do you mean? I never take the safe way out. I always find a way to make it through. That is true for a lot of aspect in our life, but there is some aspect that we just need to revisit. And and I think technology for many agent is that. And if you just allow yourself to try thing out a little bit. It's not as intimidating.
Well,
And
and the with AI too is it's like at this point it's basically like talking to a person. Like I mean, it's still very new for a lot of people and a lot of insurance agents. But as far as I know, like I have one of the only sales trainings that comes with this like AI sales coach that like knows the content, helps you, it's tailored, right? And they're like, "Well, I don't know how to use AI. I don't even know if I should touch it." And I'm like, "Well, if you can send a Teams message asking someone a question, then you can use this."
yes, yes, that's exactly it. And yeah, you're right. It is becoming a lot more intuitive. This is why one of the biggest mind shift that agents have by just going through our program is because before creating this program for insurance agent, I've gone through a lot of AI mastermind training on my own, and some of them cost as much as a Tesla, just for a few weeks. Um, but the one frustration that I have with a lot of them is that they're either too extreme. Number one is they just fire hose the heck out of you and just say, oh my God, you can do all of this, right? And then it leaving like some of the smartest people just like so confused and they don't know where to
You
start.
don't even know, yeah, you know where to start. Yeah.
Which come to another problem when it comes to the mindset is this paralysis. Like, oh my gosh, I should be productive, but I don't know where to start, right? And then to throw in this compliance excuse. Oh, but it's probably not compliance anyway, so I'm not going to
Hmm.
do it at all, right?
Hmm.
Um, so that's the fire hose. The other side is just going like too nitty gritty into the tech. Like, oh man, this is how you use like N8N to like plug a bunch of things. And don't worry, it's very easy. All you have to do is code. And when most people hear coding, like, sign me out of here.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so I have to find a pretty good balance between making it be very actionable, but then they also learn through the process and they have a completed product that right after the training, there is no extra time that they need to allocate. That they can just go back to the office the following Monday and like put that machine to work for them, which worked out pretty well so far. So.
Yeah. Well, I would say so. I mean, there's a lot of people that have done it, and I've heard a lot of good things. But I was wondering, like, are there any clients that like stick out in particular to you that have worked with you, done the training, where it was like, I don't know if it was like a total conversion where they were like, no, it's not compliant. I don't even know, or like, and now they're like they use it for everything, and they like make like bobbleheads of themselves and their dog to send people on
Yeah, yeah.
Facebook or
Um, I mean, yeah,
do you
you can
have any
say that.
stories like
But
that where
all the phases of people flashes in like in my brain. So I'll start out with like the top. Like there's an agent and his wife from Alaska, and his concept of AI was like Terminator. It's gonna like go and take over the whole like that. But to his credit, he did sign up and he did like suffer initially and then stay throughout the whole 3 days. I mean, afterward, you can just see the transformation. I think he's about 25 plus year, almost 30 years into the agency. So they've seen many cycle and
Yeah, I mean
nothing
that is a
excites them
long. I haven't
anymore.
done anything for 25 or 30 years. So
Yeah. I couldn't even keep my hair for the last 25 years.
right, right.
Uh, but like you see this invigoration of new energy that they just have as a new agent again. And to me, that's like the best and the most fulfilling feeling to give somebody that energy. Like they just opened the office, except now they have all this experience and money, right?
Right, right, yeah, exactly.
Uh,
Experience and the
they
money,
get
yeah.
to like because coming in the mindset was how do I last just another few years so I can make it to retirement? But coming out of it is like, dude, I can do this for 20, 30 more years. Like, no problem. I'm excited to. And I never thought that we would be able to just unlock that for people, but it's not me. I simply just kind of give them a few nudges and then they
You teach them
start.
to fish, right? You
Yeah.
teach them to fish. Yeah. No, that's
Um,
great.
yeah, and then we have another agent in the DC area. She's 42 years into the agency.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
So 42 years. She's like the sweetest lady. And through using AI, she's got resourceful. She can create her own handbook, research, doing her own Google and Facebook ads. She got some challenges with Meta not running her ads, and she used AI to figure it out, and she do
Oh
this
my
whole
god.
thing. Yeah,
Wow.
like 70 years old plus, and now like her Google Ads is like outperforming many of the vendors because she's paying attention to it. She's like, I can't believe that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that is unreal.
Yeah. And then we got a few agents that is newer in their career, 3 years, 4 years in. Especially there's a few newer agent in California. I'm in California too, so it's
Yep.
it's
Yep.
tough not being able to write fire
That'd
business.
be a tough place to start right now in
It is
California.
insane place to start. So AI kind of just give them hope to like, hey, I'm gonna make it through this. But when I do, I have the infrastructure to
Yeah.
really.
So like how are you helping someone that's new in the business, and then how are you helping someone that's has the experience, has the money? Like, is it the same things? Like, what do those two like ends of the spectrum look like?
Sure. So first thing first, I have to realize very quickly that it cannot be about me, because Georgia, as you've seen, when you have this magic of AI, the people that haven't dive into it, where they're just using AI to write emails and stuff, and they think they're using AI, and you're sharing this them all these advanced use cases, which I know you don't consider them advanced, and I think like I'm not a guru, but people see you as like you have this godlike magic and you're
Sure.
blessing them with it, and it can really easy to get into my head, but I know like I cannot make it be about myself. It has to be about their relationship with this team of ultimate intelligence, right? This team of expert, not just one, not two, three, four, five, like thousands of experts that they get to have this relationship with. So giving them that possibility to look that way and not doing everything themselves anymore, but instead of like reflecting back, what's giving me pain right now? What's giving me frustrations and
Hmm.
overwhelm? And what questions can I ask? And if I don't know the questions to ask, maybe I can ask what question should I ask to this
Yeah.
machine,
Yep.
and have a very personalized relationship with it and updating all of our goals, our challenges to it, and create. So our group, we call this Maya, mighty assistant to your agency. But right now it's so smart, it might as well just be mighty advisor to your
Yep.
agency.
Yep.
Um, so everybody walk away with a Maya, and Maya would be guiding them. And really, the mastermind people just ask like, "Oh, what do I do when this happened? What do I do?" It's like, and the reminders, "Have you asked your Maya?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I should have." And then they come back with really thrilled about it. Yeah,
Well, and that's a good point too, like that you were talking about earlier, where you were like, yeah, like it's if someone does know about AI, especially right now, it's like, they have godlike powers, but it's like you think that until you start using it and you're like, oh, this thing isn't, it's not too bad. But then something that I also do, especially like if I have like a really big month where I trained a lot of people, got a bunch of subscribers, maybe you had a big month, got a lot of people to your webinars and everything. If I ever have to like kind of bring myself back down and humble myself, I just ask ChatGPT to roast me based on my past prompts. Have
That's pretty funny.
you ever done that before?
I haven't, however, some of the things that I have done is Google has a mode that you could um, Gemini can know about you based on your search history result, and then
Gosh, I
and
don't know if I'm going to
ChatGPT,
touch that one.
yeah,
That's
and
Pandora's box.
ChatGPT does too. And I simply just ask the prompt, give me a blunt, brutally honest, being polite over effectiveness would be ultimate failure. Share with me um, what you wish that I must know in order to be the next version of myself. And it will just give you something that's very personal. That I'm pretty transparent, but I would think two, three more times before sharing that publicly because it's just so intimate and so personal.
I'm not
And
sharing my answer. I was rattled, but I don't think a lot of people want to share what their Google search history says about themselves. But
but those are the places that we gotta look. And I think the biggest mind shift in terms of embracing AI during this time is that um, we don't have to do it alone. Um, Now, and it's not about us. It's this feeling of oneness, because when I can ask, John Maxwell, right? When I can ask David McKnight, Tom Hegner, right, to come sit at this table to help me brainstorm this life case, or when I can ask like Tony Robbins to figure out like how come I'm losing motivation to go to the gym that I once had, and just ask me a question, and then he just dig deep until I realize into this epiphany of tears. That's using AI, right? Also asking like or bringing like a team member in and just say, hey, I'm having such a hard time with you. I don't know why, but I know we can get through it. Do you mind if ChatGPT mediate this? And I go and I explain it to ChatGPT, and then he go and explain it to ChatGPT. And now, I mean, just realizing that we're just human, and it's okay, whatever that we're feeling, and just let the machine help because it's approaching it in a non-judgmental way.
right,
Yeah. So if we care about results, that's all that matters. And not knowing how is no longer an excuse, because if you don't know how, you can ask how, right?
yeah, yeah, for sure,
And that's it. And just be humble enough to follow, but also be smart enough to know which is a good answer and not good answer, right? Because AI, like one of my mentors say, AI does crap the bed, right?
yep.
So you
Because
gotta
it always
figure out
wants to answer, right? It always
what,
wants to give an answer. It always wants to have a little bit of a bias towards you. So
yeah, yeah. So you gotta just know that. But again, a lot of people they start there. They use that as an excuse to not start. Like, oh, it's not perfect. Like, oh, I still give wrong answer every now and then. Well, yeah, me too. Right? Doesn't mean I
right,
give up on
yeah,
myself. You know. So,
right. I got a couple wrong. I'm going to bed. You know.
yeah. Yeah. So also I think the easiest way for people to start is maybe do something that's of interest to them first. Maybe it's just too much pressure initially to think, oh man, how am I gonna do this for my business, right? Do it to be whole, to to heal yourself, to de-stress first, just to be a better person first, and then the business will come. I really
For
believe
sure,
that.
for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, the way that I got into it, honestly, was just like writing emails, planning trips, right? And then you, it just becomes like a new tool where you're like, okay, instead of using a blog, using a few blog posts on Google to help plan the trip or whatever, now I'm going to start with ChatGPT or, whichever one. And then you
Yeah.
just slowly just start weaving it in. Like, oh, well, what if I ask this? What if I ask that? Or even just, and then from there, I took it a little further and just started looking at prompting, like how do you prompt it? And then I think the most recent, and you touched on it earlier, the most recent version of my AI use is I have it help me prompt it to then prompt it to do the things I want to do. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, here's a fun one too, because you can ask AI to be a thought leader. Let's just say the thought leader is, let's say John Maxwell, right? From 21 Irrefutable Law of Leadership. Say, you are John Maxwell and also a prompt engineer. Share with me your 20 most frequently used prompt. And then you go, oh my gosh, these are the prompt that John Maxwell himself probably have not thought about that prompt, but now we put John Maxwell and a prompt engineer together, right? And now you can come up with new prompt ideas. So things like that. Um, and also, I want to pick your brain too. Like when you, because you probably see people's queries, right? For like, what what made you like so proud that they asked that. Like, I didn't even think about them like asking it that way. And then also, what are some of the palm in the face? Like, oh my gosh, why is that? Like, what surprised you?
Yeah, that's a good
I guess.
question. I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind that I just didn't anticipate people using AI George for is I would go in and I would see people asking questions on like how to solve problems with their boss. Because obviously it's, insurance agents buying it and then their team using it, the agents use it too. So like there'd be times where it's like someone was asking, how do I ask for a raise when I've already asked X amount of times?
And they would ask
Or
AI George that.
yeah, they're asking I George that, or they were like, well, this person in our office came in late 3 times in a row, and now they're going to come in late for the fourth time. How do we explain to the agent that they're just what do they say? They're like, how do I explain to the agent to not get mad, not to fire them? It's like it like save their colleague. Um, though that was like, that's where it was just like I was like, okay, I mean, I guess it will do that, but I never even thought to use it
I
that way.
see. Yeah, that's so key. And then the output would be what George would have done, right? Because it's been trained
Exactly,
on your
exactly.
brain,
So,
which I think is brilliant. Yeah, and I think every agent need to have, which I know is your next tool that you're allowing agents to have with my AI. Feel free to edit it out if you're not ready to release it yet.
oh yeah, no, I mean, we can, they say, you tease it a little bit, you whisper it, where
Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Because I do
basically,
believe every business owner need to clone their brain so that
right,
way when
right.
they're not there. Because one of the things that we have our agents do is basically the same thing. He keep having people going into his office and asking him the same question, and next thing you know, it's like 4:15 p.m. and he's still stuck on that 1 p.m. email that hasn't been completed yet, right? Because he's just asking questions. So now he just capture those frequently asked questions and ask John AI to answer it for his team and freedom, baby. Right?
Well, yeah, because I mean, isn't that like why we got into business? We didn't get into business to get another job, right? If you buy some Apple stock, they don't ask you to fill in the boardroom, right? You just get paid the dividend.
Yeah, yeah,
So when you get to make your own AI that answers questions when you're busy, when you're frustrated, the same questions every new hire asks, right? When you're on a trip somewhere, there's no reason the business should pause, right? Especially when you can do something about it. So,
yeah, absolutely. And I haven't felt this way last year. Last year, honestly, I was a lot more optimistic compared to recently. And maybe I just need to go on another 10-day silent retreat. But the the pace of AI development now, I having my 3 days AI program is getting harder and harder, even though I'm getting more and more help from the most advanced AI and I get more experience. But it's getting harder because last year I only have to show so many things. This year I have, to be responsible, I have to like show them from where they're at, which is brand new, to like the most up to date. And then there's so much things and like how do I do that in a way that they will not fall behind? Because my vision is whoever that sign on, I want them to be around for the next 5, 10, 15 years, and really be transformed, but also get so it's getting harder and harder to do that, because the advancement is so fast. I
where is
just
all this advancement going, you think? Where is this thing? I mean, are we screwed? Should we just
Um,
call it?
so
Or what do we do? What do we do? You always ask me. I don't even know where to start.
well, so I'm not the best qualified person to answer it, but if anybody watching this, look up Mary Meeker. She's a extremely thorough analyst that put out a 340-page slide deck recently to know where AI is going. But there's three slide. I'll just briefly summarize it. It talk about the most 10 popular use case that people are using LLM for now, what they expect it to be 5 years from now, and what it should be 10 years from now. But in 5 years, we know that we're gonna have like autonomous robotic, right? When you combine like AI to robotic together, and also robo taxi. So we're gonna see AI like doing stuff around the office and the restaurants, and which I look forward to. But in 10 years, we're gonna start to see autonomous companies. So a whole company ran by AI. I mean, fathom that. But if you think about it, it is totally plausible because for the first time in history, we're having not just three disruptive tech, but five. So back in the 1800, we have electricity, we have phone, and automobile. Those were the three disruptive tech that's all happening in the span of about 20, 30 years. I mean, imagine a world where there's no electricity, there's no phone, and there's no car. Where would
I don't
insurance
wanna.
agents
I
be?
don't wanna. Right? Yeah, you're not.
what insurance? What are we talking about, right? But now we have five, which is AI, robotic, biotechnology, blockchains, and energy storage, right? Um, all fused into one. So think about a Tesla robotaxi that can drive itself, that can determine where to go and get charged, and then know where to go to get themselves fixed. They have their own blockchain wallet, so they're responsible for their own finances. Boom, and then it's plugged into a network. Boom. So that's an autonomous company that was self-run and have its own self-interest. So where's human belong into that, right? I think that's a deep philosophical question that we all get to ask ourselves and discover. And I think we have the luxury, and maybe we must answer that for ourselves moving forward too. Or die by 10 years, one or the other, but we
Or
gotta answer.
die. Oh man. Yeah, I wasn't sure you were taking that. Well, and it's. I mean, it's kind of an unfair question. I asked you to predict the future too, but like something. I think like Jeff Bezos was talking about one time where he was like, people ask me like, where do I think things are going? What's the future? But he was like, well, I like to think about, what's going to stay the same. And his example was people always want good prices. They want fast shipping. What do you think is going to stay the same going forwards?
Um, so this is something that I've discovered through my 10 days of silent retreat. Because if anybody have a chance to do it, I highly encourage it. I know maybe only 2% of the audience would,
I talk too
uh,
much.
but there's a lot that we get to discover, not just about ourselves, but just the universe and truth, or at least unlearn the truth that I've been telling myself, at least. But one thing that's very clear to me is, well, there's many things, but one is I'm just in I'm just this mind, this soul that's stuck in this meat OS, right? This meat operating
I've
system.
never heard anyone explain a human like that, but
But it's just so true because in this meat and flesh form, there's a few things that inevitably is gonna lead me to pain, which is number one, I want thing, and sometimes when I want it too much, and when I don't get it, there's pain. Or I really don't like something, right? I don't like cold shower, right? Or they don't want it too much, or I hate the feeling of feeling like I lost something, right? Or whatever it is. And when we hate it so much and it happened, there's also pain. And being in this meat flesh, like we're wired for that. And it's just like ping pong of pain and suffering. And so number one, that's good for business if you're just trying to playing into people's pain and their deepest desire. So and that meat OS is not changing anytime soon. However, if we want to transcend our default self, which is the meat OS, right? We stay in the middle way because it's okay to want something. It's okay to not like something, but not to the extreme. And I feel like if we get to train ourselves to play in that middle zone, that Zen zone, and that's where peace and harmony is. And that's when I just find that I am enough. I'm okay. Because I can tell you, like, being in the midst of all these AI development, it's very easy for me to feel like, oh, I'm so behind. I'm have this fear of missing out, and that's that going away from energy that I don't like to be behind, and that give me pain, right? So I just try to stay in that Zen middle way. So to me, I think that game for us as being in human in this meat flesh form will not change until we find a way to like hack ourselves and put ourselves into a robotic
Right.
form. And
Yep.
that part I'm not familiar with. Maybe the silent retreat will not help me with that, but that I know. Like you and I are the same in that meat and flesh form.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah, and maybe I'm biased towards humans or biased towards selling or you name it, but I think one of the things that will stay the same and one thing that'll be really important is your ability to talk to people and influence other people like you were talking about earlier, right? Those the
yeah,
desire and pain that'll stay the same. So your ability to connect with people at that level is going to be the thing that stays the same.
yeah,
And I think those like the human to
100%.
human things are going to be even more important.
The most famous quote that all salespeople know is like people will forget what you say to them, but they'll never forget how you make them feel.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I understand why that is now because we feel thing and we store our feeling in our body, and that's the most lasting thing. So if we want to really utilize AI for the short term, because I don't know what the future will come, is use AI to accelerate and gain trust faster, right? And to bring people to a better state faster, make them smile faster, because you can accelerate that. A lot of time it's tempting to see like, oh, I'm gonna use AI illegally by prank calling a bunch of people and then get them
Mhm.
to call me back, or you can use AI to text message a bunch of people. Um, well, number one, like that might not be legal or compliant. But number two, it doesn't really accelerate trust. Um, but you can use AI to like make a photo of George and put him in like his favorite basketball or baseball player and spend $20 to ship that painting to him. I was like, George would probably wonder like, oh man, who is this guy, right? And then so that's one of the program that I'm creating coming up as well in another where we help insurance agent reach out to mortgage and lenders officers with something that gonna make them be memorable to them and deepen that relationship.
Well, and so you've got an event coming up, 3, 4 weeks, not even from the recording of this, but starts July 9th, the your AI immersion event, right?
Yes, yes. So, I'm also disrupting my own business. So that will most likely be my last
Wow.
live event.
Okay.
Um, so July 9th to the 12th, because like I shared with you, I don't think it makes sense to do it for 3 days. So whatever that I share will just be, fill AI and recorded AI to guide people through. Because what I realize my passion is to help the early adopter, the courageous soul that is okay with embracing the unknown. If people haven't prioritize getting the fundamentals of AI yet, then it's okay. They can still do it, but they're gonna get the recorded and then AI feel. But the live, the human flesh feel, I'm a lot more excited to work with the early adopter, the people that want to embrace it earlier. So that's gonna be my last 3 days event. And after that, we'll still help other people on board at the basic level, but I'm gonna move on to do other things.
Where can people find out about the last time that you're doing your AI immersion event
Yeah.
live? Where can people
So
find out about it?
So they can go to I'm sure you put the link
I'll
down
put the
here.
link. I'll put the link, of course.
Awesome. Yeah. So AI stand for Agent Implementing AI Mastermind.com/lead with AI. Yeah. And also for your listener, your audience, if you want to go deeper, we have a webinar coming up this Thursday. And if you go to AIMastermind.com/go deeper, you get the recording of it if you missed the airing of this one before. And we're also going to share the 20 plus tools and useful prompts that we have for your audience as well.
Can you walk me through like each of the days? One, two, three. What
Yes,
should
yes.
people expect? What are they going to get out of each day?
Yeah.
That's a
So
lot. I
first
mean,
of all,
that's you talk about people not having time for something. How do they like? It better be worth the time. So what are they getting?
like when I sit back and think about like how this event came together, it makes no sense to me how it worked, but I'm so blessed that it worked because the value propositions like, hey, you can do this without pants because you don't have to book flight and hotel, right? You can stay at home, so you save money and cost and time. So it's virtual, but then most agents like, how are you gonna keep a bunch of ADD insurance agent like to sit still? But it's a very fast pace because we built on top of it. It's like a good movie. They're like, oh, I want to see what happens next. And most agents do not have to be tech savvy. The most common problem that we have in class is copy and paste because it comes out to, I know we laugh about it, but it's so true. Like what's going on? So day one, we just give them the very fundamental that I think will not change for the next 5, 10 years of what skill set and mindset they need to have in working with AI and also learning new applications. And by day one, at the end of it, they would have completed their own very personalized Maya. And from there, a lot of light bulb would have just gone on because they realized, I can do this for my fitness. I can do this for my relationship, my other business. I can do this for each of my children, right? An AI assistant to help them become a better parent because like the ideas is coming. Day two, what we typically do is we pick one business problem that most people have been asking me about. And most recently, people wanted to learn about how to run ads with Google. So it's like,
A lot
okay,
of people want to know how to run ads at Google. I mean, that's
yeah.
yeah.
So I was like, okay, we can do that. I mean, 8 months ago, I wouldn't know where to start, but I use AI and also I pay for some experts to really help me accelerate my learning. So now I can confidently talk about it because I have not just generate result for myself, but so many others. We're talking about one agent. He was our earlier pioneer. His fellow agent in the same state was paying about $7 cost per click, and he was paying like 50 cents cost per click, and he's getting 3 times more, lead for his company, high intent lead compared to what he was getting. And he's not the only one. We have another agent in Vegas. He didn't want to use a certain vendor because that vendor is also another insurance agent. So he wanted to learn how to do it himself. After some tweaking, I mean, he's super thrilled with his result. He's getting high conversion rates and he's doing it himself. So meaning all of the money that he would have paid to use a vendor, he just put into ads. So
Right. Yeah, you get to spend it on the reach instead of just paying
yeah.
someone.
And the best part for me through that is they don't need me to do it. They can do it with their AI. And 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 that's just the first skill, Google Ads. That they can self-taught other skills as well. But day two, we talk about that.
So that's
And then
we're only on day two right now.
on day two.
Okay.
and then and then day three is when most people are super fried because they're either so excited or they think about all the other things. It was like just a lot of Q&A and we bring them back. And some of them wanted to learn about, social media content create or some other use cases. So whatever problem that they wanted to solve and we solve it together. But day three is really fun because many agents is already like thinking of way and they're answering their own questions and I just kind of sit back and smile. That's the best part to me.
That's awesome.
So that's called AI immersion because we're not staying on the surface anymore. We're diving all in.
And I mean, yeah, it's 3 days, but you invest the 3 days, and then the way you operate is going to change,
Yeah.
right?
My,
Life will
my,
not
my
be the
thought is
same beyond the
the
three
mind
days.
is stretched so wide that even like it's unstretched, it's not gonna be the same ever again.
Well, and it's cool because I mean, obviously you work with a lot of agents, but you're boiling down that $500,000 on personal development. You're like, all the time and money you spent learning from AI people. Now you're just whittling it down to something that honestly costs pennies on the dollar in comparison to it. So
Yes, yeah. I mean, as you know, like the hardest thing about AI is out of like one workflow that you find out that work for a specific business, you waste time, days, weeks on the what not to do, right? so so I get to kind of just share with people, yes, I've done this and it doesn't work, and this is what I found that worked for this. And also I've done all of this for that, didn't work. This is what I found to work. So at least I get to catch people up on what didn't work and what has worked for me.
How many agents have done like your AI programs in the past?
So up to this point, I would say nearing about 200 agents.
Wow.
So, and my aspiration for this AI mastermind is that I hope that we don't have to exist anymore. So because agents would learn enough about it and start to teach and empower each other. Um, so that's the way I go. But the pace of AI development is just going so fast. I have to work really hard to make sure like we're not needed anymore. So I'm trying to be as creative as I can to do that.
Sure. Yeah, you're putting yourself out of business basically. So
Yeah, I'm constant like so I'm doing my best to make sure that I'm saying this publicly that July would be my last live one in this
wow.
format. So
Okay.
then I have to reinvent and find other way to deliver and meet the same or better result for other agents.
Okay. Well, I'm going to leave you with this one question. Okay, this is the last thing we'll go over. What's something you wish I would have asked you, and how would you have answered it?
Hmm. That's a great question. Thank you for asking that. Let me bring it back to you. What are some of the things that you just randomly wanted to ask me or just a guest, but to just not sure if it's appropriate for your audience and whatnot.
Sure. Really, what are the like day to day? What are the tools you're using? AI tools, like what's like your tech stack? What are you using?
Okay. So my most common one is I have an iPhone 15, so I just hold on to. Hey, look, you can see yourself here. um, I just hold on to Siri and say, "Hey Siri, tell ChatGPT to capture this data dump that I'm gonna share with you. Like, here's what I need to do after this podcast. I gotta do this, that, blah 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 blah." Right, and then it's just concise it. So when I have a chance to think about, I go to ChatGPT and finish the rest of my mind dumpage, right, to reorganize what I need to do most. I think that give me the most peace and relief. So maybe not ChatGPT, but just that would be one way to use large language model that I find most useful and
Okay.
most on the go.
So, I mean, yeah, that happens all the time, especially towards the end of the day. All the stuff you did, all the stuff you have to do, just dump it into Siri, ChatGPT, whatever you want, and then sort of clear up the brain fog a little bit, essentially.
Yep. Yep.
Awesome. Cool. Well, again, I really appreciate your time today, Phil. I'm glad you said Philip yes to the podcast instead of
Thanks.
Philip no. And if you want to get into AI, you want to learn more about AI, check out the last, I didn't even know that was the last one. Check out the last live AI immersion event. So
Awesome.
you'd be
Thank you,
silly not
George.
to. So
We're
thank
really
you.
excited to see Train Well podcast, man. You're such a wealth of knowledge, and thank you for doing this service to the world. I'm really excited to see.
I don't know if I'd go that far,
No,
but
no,
I'll take it.
own
How
it,
about
own
that?
it. Yeah, thank you. All right, thank you, everybody. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
George
Thanks.
fan. Thank you for Train Well.